All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a story from HARISHANKAR Parsai's The Idler's Diary. And let me tell you, it's this incredible piece of satire that really gets you thinking. It asks a simple question. What happens when you try to do just one single good thing, but you're stuck in a system that's completely, utterly insane?
And that question? Well, it's the impossible puzzle at the very heart of this story. See, our narrator, he just wants to help a dying man. Seems simple, right? But what he's about to find out is that he's not really fighting an illness. Oh no, he's up against something way worse, a tangled web of pure institutional absurdity.
So the answer the story comes up with, it's just perfectly, darkly absurd. And it all kicks off not with the dying man you'd think it would, but with something that seems totally unrelated. A colleague just wants a simple job transfer. And the advice he gets, well, that's what shows us the first fundamental rule of this completely broken world.
So let's get into the rules of this game. To make it in this world, you've got to understand its completely backward logic. The number one rule, common sense, just throw it right out the window. It won't help you here.
So here it is, the main operating principle, and it comes from this cynical old-timer named Kaka. His advice is, look, don't ask for a favor. That's a waste of time. Instead, tell your friend to go out and publicly insult his boss. Yeah, you heard that right. The boss will get furious and then punish him with the exact transfer he was hoping for. It's wild. In this system, punishment is actually the fastest way to get what you want.
But the narrator's like, wait a minute, my friend is way too scared to insult his boss. And Kaka's theory for that is just as cynical. He says, of course he is. He's corrupt. He takes bribes. According to him, it's only the honest man, the one who just eats bread, who can actually afford to be brave. The corrupt guy, the one who eats money, he's a total coward, afraid of his own shadow. And that right there, that's some deep political philosophy just hiding out in this casual conversation.
Okay, so now that we've got these completely bizarre rules set up, the story takes a sharp turn. We shift from this dark humor about office life to a situation that is literally life or death.
So here's our narrator, right? And now he's armed with this very strange insider knowledge of how the world really works. And he walks right into the one place where this kind of failure is absolutely lethal, the hospital. He's trying to save a man's life, but he's about to discover that the rules in here, they're even more twisted than he could have imagined.
And this is where we see the logic of the system in all its glory. Because this hospital, it's not a place for healing. No, it's a machine that only cares about preserving itself. And it has completely forgotten why it even exists in the first place. You know, the narrator is just horrified when he sees all these sick people just left outside. But the superintendent, he's completely calm. He explains that this is their primary investigation method. It's this chillingly logical process for filtering patients, not treating them. Think about it. The really sick ones will probably die, which saves resources. The ones who aren't as sick will get impatient and leave, which saves work. It's a perfect system if your goal is to do nothing.
And if you want to get someone, in this case Ram-Bharose, even considered for a bid, you've got to fill out this admission form. And the questions on it, they have nothing to do with medicine. Why does the patient want to get well? What right do they have to treatment? Which doctors are afraid of the patient? Suddenly, a man's life doesn't depend on his health, it depends on his political connections.
And that last question on the form reveals everything. The hospital is split into these two political factions, Group M and Group D. And what's their ideology? What do they believe in? Simple. Group M's goal is to overthrow Group D, and Group D's goal is to overthrow Group M. That's it. It's just this pointless, endless war. And the patients? They're just caught in the crossfire.
So the narrator, he has to pick one. He just randomly assigns the unconscious Ram-Bharose to Group M. But then, to assign a doctor, they flip a coin. Seriously. And it lands on a doctor from Group D. And just like that, with the flip of a coin, this poor dying man has become an enemy combatant in a war he doesn't even know exists.
All right, let's move on. Because this is where the political rot just seeps into everything. We're moving beyond simple absurdity now and into something really, really dark.
So a few days go by, and Ram-Bharose, he's clearly getting worse. I mean, he's groaning in pain. But whenever the narrator asks the doctor, the one from the rival faction, remember, about his condition, he gets the same single-word answer every time. Improvement.
And the doctor's justification for this, it's a work of art, a masterpiece of twisted logic. He actually argues that deterioration is also a form of improvement.
Why? Because, well, his condition has changed from what it was before. See? Improvement. They are literally bending the definition of words to create this illusion that they're helping, while this man is dying right in front of them. So the narrator gets desperate. He suggests, hey, why don't we consult a specialist? But this specialist happens to be from the other faction, Group M. And the doctor is absolutely horrified by this suggestion. He calls it immoral. He even starts quoting scripture to back himself up. Think about that. In this hospital, it is considered more noble to die at the hands of your assigned doctor than to be saved by a doctor from the enemy faction. So, in a last-ditch effort, a final desperate move, the narrator hears about a doctor from the other faction who's known for being super pious, very religious. He thinks, okay, maybe this guy will have some compassion. So he goes to the doctor's house, he finds him in the middle of his evening prayers, and he decides to wait. He's hoping to catch him in a moment of spiritual purity, when he's close to God.
And then he overhears the prayer. And this supposedly pious doctor is praying to God to please kill the patient in bed number 7, to kill Ram-Bharose. And why? So that his doctor, his political rival, will be disgraced. This is it. This is the absolute rock bottom, the system's total moral collapse. Even a private prayer, a direct line to God, is just another political tool. There is just no way out. So when the system wins, what do? I mean, when you're faced with this kind of perfect, inescapable absurdity, what choice do you even have left?
And that's when it hits him, the final realization. He gets it. This isn't a broken system that you can somehow fix or patch up. No, this is a perfectly functioning system. It's just that its function has nothing to do with healing people. Its function is its own internal politics. It's a closed loop, totally sealed off from actual human suffering.
So what does he do? His final act is to just go home. He leaves Ram-Bharose in God's hands. But you have to understand, this is not an act of faith. It's what we could call rational surrender. It is the only sane choice in a world that is so completely insane that anything you do is pointless. He's not giving up on the man, he's giving up on the system. And that is the absolutely devastating question that Parsai's satire leaves us with. It makes us look at the absurd bureaucracies that we all deal with in our own lives, whether it's in healthcare or government or any place where the system seems to exist only to serve itself, not the people it's supposed to help. So here's the question for you. When a system is perfectly designed to fail, is just walking away the only sane thing to do? It's a question that feels more urgent now than maybe ever before.